Well, hello, everybody. Happy February. February, my goodness. I know I say this every month, but I just find it absolutely incredible that it just flies by, doesn't it? So, one of the things that I think about as I kind of reflect on, oh my gosh, how's it February already? I do think about our time and time management. And so, one thing I want to talk about very quickly is just the concept of budgeting your time. The concept that if time is holding you or taking a hold of you, or if you're taking a hold of time. And one of the ways that I work really hard to ensure that time doesn't just pass me by, I am really intentional with it. I am thoughtful about what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it. It's not that it takes me extra time. In fact, I'm more efficient because I plan. I always say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I take my Sundays to look at what I'm going to cook for my family for the week and write the grocery list. That is about the most meal prep I do, other than throw some chicken in and my hard boiled eggs. But I am intentional about what I'm doing. So dinner doesn't surprise me. It's not 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm running around driving the kids and thinking, what am I going to do for dinner? And then end up going for takeout. And so, yes, time can fly by. And in February, in my message this month, I talk about the fact that it is my husband's birthday, my father's birthday, and my daughter's birthday, as well as my brother's. And I can't get over how old we all are. My daughter is turning 16 this month. And so, time truly flies. The days can go by slow and the years can go by fast, which is actually not always true, right? Because we know sometimes our days can fly by, but how we live our days translates into how we live our weeks, our months, and our years. And so I'm just going to really encourage you this month to be thinking about your time, to use these recipes every month as an opportunity to revisit your systems, revisit your habits, and to be thinking through how time can work for you. And so, with that, let's go into what we've got going this month. And so, a couple things I want to announce. Every month, some of our coaches are adding their own recipes to the mix, which I'm very excited about. We are also starting next month, so starting in March, adding more recipes to the subscription. So I'm very excited for you to see extra recipes every month. And then those of you that are in our subscription, either the annual recipe subscription or our monthly membership, uh, after finishing one of our programs and you have access to our learning portal, we will be putting in bonus recipes. As long as you are a member and subscribing, you have the opportunity to grab those bonus recipes. I'm also going through and putting in some bonus trainings into that portal. So it's kind of going to be a fun opportunity for you to see what's new in the portal, in addition to the recipes. Now, if you're a monthly subscriber to our recipes and you don't have access to the portal, but you'd like to upgrade, even though our recipe subscription is only open twice a year, for you who are already in it, you have the ability to upgrade to the annual. So if you want to do that, just reach out and then you will have access to the portal as well, in addition to a variety of other great resources in there, like our 101 simple PFC recipes and things like that. So let's get started. Every single month, I share with you what my favorite recipe is. Let me share with you what we have here. We have a pizza casserole. This was our pizza night. It's been our pizza night actually for a few nights, and it's so fast and easy. You guys, it actually is so much easier than even calling for takeout, waiting for it to be delivered, eating it, and then feeling gross afterwards. So I can't wait for you to try that. Coach Michelle's minestrone soup is perfect for a winter day. And so February is going to still be cold in much of the country. And so this is a wonderful place, a wonderful soup option for us in the winter. Sausage and pepper pasta. I love my pasta. And mixing this with sausage and peppers. Oh my gosh. My husband's side of the family is Italian, and it kind of brings me into those, large casserole dishes at parties where there was sausage and peppers. Okay, week 2, we have this baked cod casserole. So my grandmother is a casserole, was a casserole queen, and it was like Christmas and everything. We had casseroles, especially as she got older and she wanted it to be easier. So this is a little bit of a nod to her. But you'll see it is casseroles do not have to be unhealthy. So the next one is Frank's random meatloaf. So it's Frank's birthday this month. That is my dad. And my dad, I said to him, and in February, I want to honor you. I want to honor your cooking. Now, my dad didn't cook. And so he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Your meatloaf, dad." That was what he cooked. But his meatloaf was like, it was a Chopped episode before Chopped was a thing, and his random meatloaf was so random. So I worked hard to develop a meatloaf recipe that, oh my gosh, you guys, is out of the world, out of this world. I actually always had this bias against meatloaf because my dad would make it and it would taste different every time, and most of the time it really wasn't very good. And so I'm calling this Frank's random meatloaf, but it really isn't his. Although we did work together on what we thought would be really good in it. This is my recipe of the month, which I cannot believe I'm saying because um, Frank's meatloaf wouldn't necessarily have passed that test when I was younger, but it does now. Macaroni and cheese we're doing, and notice macaroni is in quotes. Coach Jess has an amazingly easy and so yummy egg drop soup. I love to do some soups in the winter. It's just fast and easy and a great way for families to eat together. Sweet potatoes and cauliflower chicken. I will find a million ways to change up sweet potatoes and cauliflower if I have to. And then check this out, chicken parm stuffed peppers. I love stuffed peppers and I love chicken parm. So this is an amazing combination. So I'm just going to go through this. You know, you have your grocery list. My team is so great at the groceries. If you ever notice, this goes through multiple edits. If you ever notice anything that isn't right on any of this or is hard to understand, please let us know. You can always comment in the learning portal or reply back to our emails, and we'll make it right. And then the link that you get this at or the download in the portal will always be updated with the latest. So if we have to make any changes, that's great. That's why I often say, you know what? Maybe don't print these. Grab them on your e-reader. Then you're saving paper and you know you're getting the most recent if there's any changes that needed to be made. Okay, every month, you guys, you know how much I love wine, but of course, I'm only drinking clean crafted wine that is curated from Scout and Cellar. So, Coach Deb works on this every month. She is a wine connoisseur herself. And so she goes through these recipes and looks at the most recent wines that Scout and Cellar has curated. Now, remember, Scout and Cellar curates clean crafted wine from all over the world. It is literally grapes and the natural yeast that grow on them. There are no added sulfites, no added sugar. Most wine is 16 to 32 grams of added sugar. So if you are pairing wine with your meals during the lifestyle, while you're kind of living the lifestyle, and not in the 4 weeks to wellness, please understand if it is not clean crafted wine, you are likely sabotaging goals in massive ways because the added sugar is insane. It's in 97% of the wine that we're drinking. But in addition to that, almost all wine has pesticides, chemicals, and additives to it as well. Those toxins cause fat cells in our bodies. Our bodies protect ourselves by putting fat cells in our bodies when we do wrong by it, when we add those toxins. And so if you're going to have wine, then check this out. Reach out to any one of us with more information because it's really powerful and so, so flavorful, all coming from old vine. So the flavor's robust. It is like nothing you've had before. All right, take a look. This is my pizza casserole. All right. So there is dairy in this. So this is not compliant with the 4 weeks to wellness. I do try to often give you guys opportunities for ways to make this work. I already put in nutritional yeast in here to bring up the protein because turkey protein in and of itself, or turkey pepperoni in itself, does not have a ton of protein. And I didn't want to add like chicken or any of that other stuff to it. So there's cheese in here and nutritional yeast, and that helps bring the protein up. So I would say to you, there's not a lot of substitute that's still going to get you the protein that you need. So save this one for after. But I have been experimenting this with all sorts of different toppings. A Hawaiian pizza Ham and pineapple? Yes. I do chicken on my pizza sometimes. If you want to do cheese pizza, then do a side salad with chicken on it. So, lots of different opportunities for you to be able to make this work really well. There's only 11 grams of carbs in this. So, another thing you can do is have your pizza casserole with your cheese pizza and then have a side salad with quinoa in it because that will add your carbs and it will add more protein for you. And quinoa is a complete protein. So love this. You're using your zucchini as a crust. So it took me a few times to do this. Don't worry if it doesn't come out perfect, it will still taste perfect. So if your crust isn't as crusty as you want it to be, don't worry, it will still be amazing. So Michelle's minestrone soup is fabulous. You can actually make this totally compliant by just not including the Parmesan and adding some nutritional yeast to it as a replacement if you want to. It's just an optional topping, so you don't have to worry too much about this. But you have 20 grams of protein in here and because of the chicken breast. If you want to use less chicken breast, for example, and you change your chicken broth to bone broth, you get more protein in there without feeling like you're having to bite into chicken. So, a couple little tips there. Coach Michelle is one of the most thorough people I know. So, she's really great at explaining these recipes for you. Okay, so as we keep moving, this is the sausage and peppers. So sausage and pepper pasta, you guys, this is where Banza chickpea pasta, like it needs to be a staple in your house. I love it. It is the only pasta that I'm really having because it actually makes a ton. And the chickpea protein, while it's not a complete protein, honestly, we can it's still protein and it can still benefit us. And if you mix it with other vegetarian proteins, you could do pretty well with this. And you'd be surprised how 2 ounces of this pasta is fills your bowl. Um, I use chicken sausage with this. I've used Italian turkey sausage as well, but make sure if it has casings on it, you remove it because you want it to be really crumbly in there. The garlic makes this wonderful. The kale, I love, love, love kale in my food, especially when I'm cooking it. It adds another texture and layer to it. You can substitute nutritional yeast again for this if you want to instead of the cheese. So that can make it really good. And this is a one pot meal. So my kids actually thought this was the best one of the month. So I think this would have been my number one choice if then I hadn't done the meatloaf. Baked cod casserole. So believe it or not, like this is bread with it. I don't cook with bread very often, but you're gonna chop up whole wheat country bread, and I hesitate to say just go gluten-free. Yes, you can absolutely go gluten-free, but be very careful with the ingredients that are in gluten-free. Gluten-free does not mean healthy. It just means it doesn't have that gluten, but they very often are substituting with other garbage to make it work. So if you are having organic bread that does not have a lot of garbage in it and your body can handle the gluten, then this will be great for you. If you don't want to do the bread, you don't have to. You can substitute and just do some rice with this. And this recipe stands on its own without it. So this one though is called the casserole, and most casseroles have cheese, right? But I did this without the cheese, and you don't need it. Believe it or not, this reminds me of Mexican food in some ways. And I think it's a lot of it is because I've got the limes and I've got the avocado in there, um, the fresh cilantro, and that always reminds me of living in Mexico. So, love this one. Okay, so here you can see week 3, we got Frank and his random meatloaf. So, honestly, I was actually on a call. I made this, put it in the oven, and had my husband finish it off. He came and brought it to me while I was on the call, and I was like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh." Like I said it on the Zoom call, "Guys, I am eating like the best meal I've had in a very long time." So, it was really great. Now, you don't have enough carbs in this, believe it or not. So, make a big side salad, have your glass of wine, lots of veggies. I don't wanna say have brown rice with everything if you need to add carbs because it's very dense and we need more nutrients as much as possible. So brown rice is fine, which is not going to give you all the nutrients that I would love for lots and lots of veggies to give you. So I want you to be thinking about how many veggies can you add with this, so that you can just get more and more nutrients in it. It's going to fill you up. Okay. This meatloaf combines 3 different kinds of meat, and I think that's why it's so great. So ground beef, really lean ground beef, ground bison. I don't know that I've put bison in a recipe before, but I used to cook with it a lot. And then I kind of got away with it. And then I saw it in the grocery store and I'm like, "Ooh, what am I doing?" So of course, Frank never put bison. We never ever put bison in our meatloaf. We would have never had that when I was a kid. But we would have had pretty much the cheapest ground beef you could have ever gotten, and definitely not turkey, but my dad would often use pork. I didn't want to use pork. So he and I were trying to talk about what we think could work really well. The combination of those 3 beefs, or those 3 meats, was just outrageous, you guys. So outrageous. And keep in mind, ketchup has tons and tons of added sugar. Do not go into your fridge and grab random ketchup. In fact, throw that out and get yourself Primal Kitchen ketchup, or Trader Joe's has a great organic ketchup as well. Okay, macaroni and cheese. So this has turkey bacon. I was like, okay, how am I going to make like turkey bacon? I love, and it's great protein and low fat. So I was trying to figure out a way that we could make something that would be like cheesy and decadent, still had enough protein and all of that. Now there's definitely dairy in here, and we're not going to not be able to have it because I have sour cream in here, mozzarella cheese, cheddar cheese in here. So believe it or not, there's so much good stuff in here. And it seems like it should be really bad for you. But I mean, we've got 19 grams of protein, and we've got a little bit more fat than we normally do. But for macaroni and cheese, you guys, it's amazing. We only have 3.5 grams of carbs. So what are you adding to this? I sometimes say that I add the brown rice to it, but it right into the mixture, and that works, especially if I want to make like a casserole, one kind of quick meal that we can eat. Or like I said, this is a dense meal. So consider doing some really light, wonderful veggies, asparagus, broccoli. Um, you could do, um, gosh, a big salad with kale and tons of veggies in there too. So just be creative. I'd love to know what you're doing for that. If you want to make it fast and have like an apple on the side, you can do that. But be creative. I would love to know what you're doing. Yeah, so then it's so funny because then I actually wrote in my notes that then my kids said this was their favorite meal of the month. So this month is full of comfort food. And because we have so many birthdays, it was funny. I was trying to figure out which meals we would be doing for birthdays. So they kept saying, this one's my favorite. This one's my favorite, which really cracked me up. Okay. This is Jess's egg drop soup. So you're going to want to read through these directions kind of quickly, but this is a really quick meal. This serves one. So I just want you to be aware of that. So you're going to like quadruple this recipe. But she uses the brick rice ramen. And I want to just bring that up to your attention because it's a half a brick. What I do if I'm making this for one person, I break the brick in half lengthwise. It breaks pretty easily that way. Brown rice ramen is amazing. Go on Amazon for it. Message us if you don't have it. Ask in the Facebook group. It is so great because that half a brick is a perfect portion of carbs for us. So what I often do though is to quadruple this, you're just going to do 2 bricks in the soup, right? And then add the other pieces to it. So really follow that. But we can always make this, especially for dinner time, a soup and salad. Remember, we can add a side salad to anything. It's going to give you nutrients. It's not going to add really any carbs. If you're doing lettuce and spinach and kale, that's all free food. Light veggies on top of it, like tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers. Think about salad dressing. If you already have your fat in there, which we do, then what can you put on your dressing? I love lemon juice. I love doing salsa, lime juice, vinegar. Balsamic vinegar is one of my favorites. There's lots of ways that you can do kind of a juicy dressing to coat your salad without it being full of fat. All right. So lots of tips this month. Sweet potatoes and cauliflower chicken. I just am loving cauliflower. Oh gosh, I'm doing something for next month that is just amazing. Think curry and cauliflower. Okay. So I've just been loving cauliflower. I have done this with florets and I've done this with cauliflower rice, but I just find if I buy the big cauliflower rice at Costco, it is so fast and easy. I mean, there is nothing crazy about the ingredients in here. Your kids are going to love, love, love this. Okay. So the cauliflower has this like kind of nutty taste when it's mixed with the sweet potatoes. And then with the Parmesan cheese and the chicken tenders, guys, it is just a really great combination of super simple meals. It's a great PFC balance. It's a little high in protein, but honestly, like you can, um, it's only because why is it high in protein? Oh, and I'm sorry, because you've got cheese in there, um, and the chicken tenders. But honestly, just you can go for it. That amount of protein is going to be fine. You'll be great with this. It's fabulous. But I will say, as I'm looking at this, I'm going to look again at the protein because if it's only 3/4 of a pound of raw chicken tenders, that's usually enough for us servings of 4. So I don't think it's actually quite that high in protein. I'm going to check it. And when you get your copy of this, you may see it different. So chicken parm stuffed peppers. Okay, so there's dairy in here, but you can substitute that. It just doesn't become really chicken parm, right? I though would suggest you could totally substitute this with avocado. It just will be a totally different taste. It won't be chicken parm, but you can do that. So this is going to give you really a great balance. You're making 5 peppers. So you're going to get 5 peppers here. And what we did in our family of 4 is I just had one left over. A lot of times I double my recipes. I didn't double this one the first time I made it. Um, you guys, clean marinara sauce is really important here. If you want to make your own, you certainly can, but I don't. I like the Rouse, and there's lots and lots of brands that you can find that has none of that added sugar and garbage in it. It is amazing. Don't just look at the label and think it looks healthy. Read ingredients in there. Mozzarella cheese is actually one of those cheeses that's not as high in fat and it's higher in protein. So adding that to this is great, but also recognize that we have cooked quinoa in here. And so quinoa is a complete protein. Chicken breast, so I added less chicken breast than I would normally do to a full meal because we are getting some of our protein in our quinoa. And we're getting our carbs from there as well. And this is such a great meal in here. So I really love this. It heated up great the next day, like I said. So go ahead and grab that. That goes on to the second page. Some bonus dishes. So chickpea and shrimp curry. I love curry. I'm playing with all sorts of recipes with curry lately. A lot of you know I used to live in Asia. I've lived in Mexico. I've lived in Europe, and so I love being able to bring in flavors local flavors from when I lived in these different places. So we're using rice cauliflower for this again. So if you're buying that rice cauliflower, you can use it for this as well. This is a really kind of great side dish, but you can leave out the shrimp and then just make this a salad. But really, and then you could also substitute the shrimp for whatever you want. But I am super picky about my curry. And this, you want the can of unsweetened coconut milk. So the thing I want you to realize is that they have the box of coconut milk that you might put in your protein shake and the can of coconut milk. It's more like a cream. That's what you want. You want the can. Okay. This totally is replacing my takeout from my favorite Thai restaurant. Now, of course, I will still do that sometimes, but when this could be a recipe that was so good. It just was like such a no-brainer. Like I make it all the time now. It's totally my replacement and it's not hard. Again, replace it with whatever you want. If you want shrimp or chicken, anything like that, or do it with none of that and just have it, as a fat and a carb. All right, mango sherbet. Yep, mango sherbet, you guys. So my kids at church are called the Mango Sisters because they love dried mango. Mango is so good. And again, this brings me back to Asia. Sticky rice with mango is with coconut cream. Oh my gosh, so amazing. Um, Mango, though, is very, very high in sugar. It is one of the highest glycemic indexes of our of fruit. So I don't want you to necessarily be having this if you're on the 4 weeks to wellness, because we're keeping our blood sugar super, super stable all the time. Now, we are always balancing our blood sugar anyway, but we just want to not have some of the high glycemic food because we're doing that full detox during the 4 weeks to wellness. But I have really worked hard to figure out how to do something like this that my kids would love because they love mango so much. This is 18 grams of carbs. Now, it all comes from the sugar in the mangoes. Okay. So, and there's orange in here too. So, and agave. So you're talking about um, a lot of sugar in this, but we're making it work because it's only 18 grams of carbs, but all of those carbs are just really sugar. Okay. So this is something you want to do all the time, but this is an amazing, so much healthier option than anything you would ever find when it comes to sherbet or ice cream or anything like that. So this could be such a great nighttime meal, right? So if you're thinking about that, that could be fun sometimes. I don't want to do that all the time, but this is sweet and amazing. Now, I will tell you too, I like using light agave. It brings down the sugar content a little bit, and it still tastes great. Okay, zucchini feta fritters. Zucchini and feta fritters are so good. So I like to find many different ways to use zucchini. I think it's such an amazing vegetable. And so this is really fun. This is a great little side dish. It only has one fritter, has 3 grams of carbs, 3 grams of fat, 3 grams of protein, you guys. So you could have a couple fritters on the side with your kids of any meal. Here's something that I want you to put in your pantry if you don't already. Arrowroot powder. Arrowroot powder is like a great cornstarch alternative. You're going to see next month in one of our recipes, sweet and sour chicken, which is like my favorite. The arrowroot powder replaces cornstarch. It makes sauces thicker. And it is something that I'm using more and more and more of. So really make sure you do that. There's corn and there's feta in here. So this isn't really necessarily 4 weeks to wellness compliant, but you guys, it's great. This is just super, super simple and really any side dish. Okay. So I was talking about time before. I was talking about not letting time get to us. So I want you to be thinking about this quote. I keep saying, you know what, like, print this last page. You don't have to print all the recipes. Put them on your e-reader if you have one. But look at this. I just think this is about time not taking hold of you, right? I think we do that with our money too. We say, oh my gosh, I don't know where my money went, right? Money just disappears. Money owns you instead of you owning your money. You have to tell your money where to go and you have to tell your time where to go too. So listen to this. This is the founder of IKEA. He said, you can do so much in 10 minutes of time. 10 minutes, once gone, is gone for good. And dividing your life into little 10-minute units, sacrificing as few of them as possible and meaningless activity is like a really great piece of advice. So think about that. So especially if there's something that you have to do and don't want to do, you could waste 10 minutes like with no problem, right? You can scroll on social media and suddenly like 45 minutes has gone by. Take 10 minutes to go start something. Just put half of the laundry away, right? You don't have to finish it, but set your alarm for 10 minutes and you start to own time a lot more. Instead of randomly scrolling on social media, there are so many other things that we could do. You could put on a podcast, put your timer on for 10 minutes and go. Put on our podcast. That would be great. Okay, that is it. If you have questions, let me know. We want to see Diet Disruptor Squad. Go ahead and post your favorite recipes as you're cooking them. And we can share the goodness of your talents in the kitchen. All right, you guys, talk to you later. Thank you so much. Happy February.